Hey everybody, this is Lions Dan with another news and commentary. I'm doing an update of a story that I told you before about what's going on in my old home, which was Albuquerque, New Mexico. So, for those of you that don't know or crawl under a rock, New Mexican Governor Michelle Lahan Grissom has now activated the National Guard to Albuquerque and importantly to fight crime and others. But I kind of suspect with that, so I'm just going to read the article. This article comes from KOA-TV, which is the ABC affiliate. It says New Mexico National Guard activated to help Albuquerque police in fighting crime. It says Governor Michelle Lujan Grissom has activated the New Mexico National Guard to help support the Albuquerque Police Department fight crime in the city. According to the governor's office, the emergency request came from Albuquerque police. Now, it's kind of very suspicious in a way because obviously when you basically ask the governor to get the National Guard down there, that tells you that something isn't right. It tells you that basically you either had a lack of police in the streets that cannot fight crime, or something big is happening. Now, when I was there in the last 4 years, I mean, I've been in Albuquerque, New Mexico for the last 4 years. Some of you guys who saw my YouTube channel knows that. But, all the time there's been some police involved shootings in the Albuquerque. And especially, when it comes to black people, or we already know what happened with that. Um, but it's crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article. It continued to say is the governor's office says the fentanyl epidemic and rising violent crime among juveniles were cited as issues that needed immediate intervention. There will be 60 to 70 National Guard personnel assigned to help APD beginning in mid-May, while training has already started. National Guard personnel will help APD with the following areas. Again, and Police Chief Medina, who is the Albuquerque police chief, basically asking the governor for getting the National Guard, which is unusual. If you have a fentanyl epidemic, right? And this is remind you of the 80s crack epidemic. Now, I'm going to tell you a lot about Albuquerque. So Albuquerque is predominantly white and white Hispanic, right? They run the city. So basically, you don't have programs for people to go to who's a drug addict, who has fentanyl and who has methamphetamines. You don't have no programs to go to. But then you send the National Guard, which is kind of unusual. And then you're supposed to be police police chief Medina. I mean, you're supposed to fight crime. You got SWAT teams. You got everything to crack down all those violent crimes you were talking about around juveniles, as you said that why you need it. Unless, again, either these officers quit or resign, and you have lack of police officers in the streets. But it's kind of weird, and it's scary. So these are the measures that they needed right now, and this is kind of scary, like I told you before. And the lists is scene security and traffic control at a critical incident, medical assistance and humanitarian efforts along Central Avenue. I'm going to explain about Central Avenue in a second. Prisoner transport unit assistance, transit security enhancement, Metro Court security support, aviation some port security assistance, shield unit case preparation support, APD drone program operational assistance. The governor's office said the National Guard deployment will allow APD to relocate police to enforcement activities. So look at all the lists. So you're telling me you don't have no police, no SWAT team, no nothing to patrol all these areas? And I'm just look at it, and I'm just basically showing you why Police Chief Medina need all these assistants. Now, in the past couple of years, especially when I was down there's been some police-involved shootings. And then there's been some protests with the George Floyd. And I mean, for those of you that's follow me on Facebook, you saw the images of what happened with that. But when you have lack of police in the streets, but we still don't know why. And you telling me that it was so bad that you have to have the National Guard to come down there in Albuquerque to straighten everything out? This is weird. This is really, really weird. And that is the end of this article. But this is kind of weird, right? This is weird because you telling me that you don't have enough police power to, control the crime there. You have the Benito County Sheriff's Office. You can probably use their resources, and yet you have to call the governor to get a National Guard down here, which we still don't know why. It is sad, basically it's really, really sad that people are in fear. And let's just say hypothetically you have, that is the epidemic, right? With fentanyl. Let's just say you have a fentanyl epidemic. There you could create programs. You have a drug counselor. You can try to seek treatment of this. And then you say because of the juvenile crime on the rise. With you telling me you don't have enough resources to combat those crimes? And I'm sorry, this something ain't right here. It's like you want martial law in the city of Albuquerque. That's what it looked like to me. And so with the high juvenile crimes and everything else, y'all really did not give enough explanation of why you requested, the National Guard. And when they talk about Central Avenue, I know that very, very well. For those of you that don't live in Albuquerque, Central Avenue is where the University of New Mexico is located. I'm gonna talk about the campus alone. You got to go all the way downtown to Central Avenue. It's like all the University of New Mexico campus, right? And then when you go straight down, you can go all the way to downtown, and then you're gonna go to outskirts of Albuquerque, going on Central Avenue. Parts of it is where I used to work at, around that area. But this is kind of scary in a way that the police chief Medina don't even have enough police officers in the streets. So you don't even go to your Bernalillo County sheriff's office to help. You went all the way to Santa Fe, the governor's office, and request, the National Guard. And I'm sorry, it's kind of scary in a way. Because it felt like you want to create martial law now. Because you can't control the people in the streets. And again, we don't know why the Chief Medina wants that request. Maybe because they have lack of police officers in the streets. We don't really know. That he's not going to explain why he needs the National Guard. But either way, that's still kind of concerned. What makes you think the National Guard is going to control the streets? Maybe it could make things worse. Now, I can understand if you request the National Guard. If it's a disaster area, like if it was flooding or tornado or something like that, that damages homes and everything, yes, you can use the National Guard for that. You can use those resources. Or if it's a riot in Albuquerque, when people are destroying, looting, and everything, you may need a National Guard for that. But why you need a National Guard to control the crime or control the fentanyl epidemic? You can't control that. And I know a lot of states in the United States has fentanyl epidemic in their states, but they will not use the National Guard to control it. That's when I knew something isn't right. That either these police officers quit, or just say, "Look, I don't want to do the job anymore," or either there's lack of recruitment in the Albuquerque Police Department. We don't really know, but whatever it is, this isn't good. And they said the situation is going to start in mid May. Because it's funny, mid May it's really not that far from their school, being closed for the summer. And now y'all want this to happen. Y'all want fear in the streets because of the National Guard. This is crazy, guys. Y'all let me know what you think about this. I mean, in my opinion, you know, you have to get the National Guard to control the streets. You're supposed to have a lot of police control. That's including the SWAT teams and everything else. Unless you have lack of police recruitments or police in your precincts decided to resign or turn in their badges and say, "I'm not doing this job no more," and then you have more crime happening in Albuquerque. But still, like, asking for the governor to get the National Guard is way, in my opinion, way over the top. Way over the top. You have Bernito County Sheriff's Office. You have other parts in New Mexico, towns. You can use their police department to help. But you're going to go all the way to the governor to get the National Guard. And this is basically wasting the taxpayers' money doing all of this. This is crazy. Let me know what y'all think in the comments.